Today is Friday, January 21st, 2022. It's about 4:45 p.m. in downtown Cleveland. Temperature is 19 degrees, feels like about 6 degrees. And right now we're going to be doing a test live stream on YouTube. It's been over a year since I've done a live stream on YouTube, and that's because last time I was downtown Cleveland over a year ago and did a live stream, the reception cut out after like 5 minutes, and even before that it was very choppy. And my previous phone, I only had a 4G signal. I recently have a phone that now has 5G, and I'm hoping the connection is better, so this is why it's going to be a little bit of a test. And I can also show the snow in downtown Cleveland. You can see the Cleveland State area has done a good job plowing the sidewalks and the crosswalk areas. This is where the Rascal House and Peabody's used to be. Entrance to Rascal House and the parking lot was right here, for those of you familiar with the area down here on Euclid. And then that is where the University Center birdcage used to be. It was just replaced with the Student Center. I got to experience both buildings during my undergraduate time at CSU. So I don't have a plan necessarily for showing something specifically other than the path that I'm walking on. And I don't know how long I'm going to go, but like I said, my main objective of this first live stream was to do it for at least maybe 20 to 30 minutes. Oh, there's the new Healthline bus. They upgraded the bus fleet recently. And then I want to watch this stream back later on and try to get a gauge of how it worked. Was it clear? I gave a shout out to this place called Enjoy the last time I was here, so I get to shout them out again. Check them out. Delicious cheesesteak and fry combo for $10. Alright, now this is an area you have to be careful. All ice here. Big sheet of ice. And I'm probably going to cross the street at this next intersection. Well, it looks like I have one viewer. How exciting, right? Thank you to the one viewer who is tuning in right now. If you missed it earlier, this is sort of a test live stream to see how well my new 5G connection is. And if it ends up going well, then I can plan some more live walks in the future instead of pre-recording videos. Although the pre-recorded videos are very nice quality, it often takes almost 24 hours to upload them and have YouTube finish the HD processing quality. Whereas the live stream like this, hopefully it's fairly decent quality and it gets uploaded right away. in real time. Even though I'm sure it would have been very hectic. Hey, Sadie Lamp Duo, thanks for the comment saying looking good in Cleveland. And that's cool too. It's been a while since I've gotten to test or see the chat feature while I'm live streaming. So that's good to see that I can read the comments as we're passing the Monte College of Business right now. I thought to myself, you know what, since it's going to be cold for a while, maybe I should one day use this big open area, or actually behind the College of Business on the other side of the building. There's a bigger, it's normally grass, but it's covered with snow. But maybe I should try to build a snowman there and live stream it or something. That would be a pretty fun thing to do on the CSU campus. We're getting close to the Playhouse Square area. You can see the archway. I believe there's 3 of those archways that greet you from different directions, indicating that you're in the Playhouse Square area. You know what, while I'm doing this test stream, let me try flipping the camera. Facing, there we go. Alright, so just testing the selfie view. Kind of up close to me, so I gotta hold the camera further back. And I gotta make sure I'm looking to the left side, because that's where the camera is. Now flip it back. Notice the screen, as soon as I flipped it, looked blurry on the camera, so I had to tap the screen in order to focus it again. So I'll be curious to see if that's how it looked on the live stream too. I forgot to bring it today, but I do have little touch pens that can register taps on the screen and are very useful for the cold weather, so that I can keep my gloves on. But that's why the couple of times I'm touching the screen here, I have to take my glove off to do it. Even though these are technically touchscreen gloves, the surface area of the finger is still big, and the keys on the screen are quite small. So you almost risk hitting the wrong button and messing something up if you're using the glove. The sun is just setting on the western part of downtown Cleveland as we pass the Grand Chandelier. There's not many Christmas decorations left in downtown Cleveland besides the lights at Public Square, but this is one of them. The snowflakes that are lining the middle section there of Euclid Avenue. Sadie Lamp Duo says, good to also see people walking downtown. Yes. Probably people just leaving work and finishing off the work week, but good to see that they're down here nonetheless. Because it can be depressing to walk around a big downtown area and just be the only person walking around, and you think to yourself, man, you know, how times have changed. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say earlier, back when I was by Cleveland State. I wish I would have been down here Monday morning. I filmed a video in my residential neighborhood walking through the snow, and it was very tough to walk through, but I wish it could have been downtown, because that would have been crazy to see all the buses stuck. I heard there were a lot of RTA buses that were stuck for hours on end, and then RTA at some point actually canceled all bus service or told whatever buses were currently in the fleet to hold in place. And then it wasn't until like the evening time, around 5:30 p.m., that some of those buses started to resume service. I think the 22 bus, the 26 bus, and the 51 bus were the first three ones that resumed service. And those buses typically operate on the main roads. And then eventually the rest of the RTA fleet and transit system was back in operation. Tuesday, I was thinking of coming down here too, which would have been the day after Martin Luther King Day, and I was going to film something, but work told us not to come in that particular day because of the still hectic conditions. So Wednesday morning was the first time I got to see how it was down here. And I take the bus system, so when I was getting off the bus or getting on the bus that day, you were still climbing on a lot of these snow mounds. But then when I was leaving Wednesday evening to go home, I noticed that there had been some paths created some paths created so at least people could step onto the bus in most spots. It also helped that Wednesday it had warmed up a tad. There was a brief point in the day where it got to about 42 degrees, even though it probably didn't feel like that, but compared to the single digit temperatures, it felt like a warm up. So that allowed a tiny bit of the snow to melt, especially if people had shoveled in certain areas. But then Thursday was like right back to the single digits. And then that's why everything refroze. But fortunately, like the area we're walking on here on Euclid, there's enough spots to walk and not have to slip or risk falling. Like I said, that spot earlier when I started the stream on Euclid near East 19th Street, that was the only spot where I had to climb over some ice. Sadie Lamp Duel says, did General Electric up Noble and East Cleveland have a light display this year? I'm pretty sure they did. Someone recommended that to me. I didn't get a chance to go see it. I've actually never seen it, but when they told me about it, I looked it up on the internet, and as far as I could tell, yes, it was definitely up and on display. I just didn't have a chance to go out there. I only got out to the west side, which is where I'm familiar with. I did a video in Crocker Park in Westlake, did a brief walkthrough in Lakewood, and then I did video in Fairview Park showing a street with a bunch of lights, and where else was I? Yeah, downtown Cleveland. I did about a 1 hour video. One thing I need to monitor too is the battery life on this phone. I think the battery life would normally be good, especially with it being a new phone, but I'm running a process in the background that backs up, or not backs up, is trying to restore all the text messages from my previous phone. And probably for a lot of people that would be a quick process, but I have a boatload of text messages from like a 3.5 year period. So it's taking a while, and it's also, I noticed the process is draining the battery when it's not plugged in. And that process has been running for about, let's see here, I started at 9 p.m. yesterday, so I guess it's 20 hours, and right now it's like 45% of the way finished. So I would hate to check my battery and see that it's drained to zero, and then I have to restart that whole process over again. Because while it's being run, I can't utilize my text messaging. So I tried to time up that process to run over the Friday-Saturday period. I have 5 viewers on the stream right now, so thank you to everyone who's tuning in.
Are you here tomorrow? Okay, I'll see you next week.
If this live walk ends up going well for the quality, and I'm hopeful because right now it hasn't given up, and when I did my last live stream in downtown Cleveland, again over a year ago, this was the area where the connection cut out. But yeah, if this holds up well, hopefully I can do some more walks and show something besides Euclid Avenue, because that seems to be the street I've predominantly shown over the past several months. But I can, even though they're not as interesting, I can go down Prospect, Superior, Lakeside, weave in and out between various streets. And I'm also wondering how the reception will be down by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Typically at Brown. Alright, testing. So while I was filming, a update came on my screen that said install update right now on your phone, and it said transmission aborted. So I don't know if I'm actually still live or not. If someone's in the comment section, could you try to let me know, am I still live? It's making it seem like I am, but I don't know why I got the message that said transmission aborted for a second there. Well, I just received another comment from Sadie Lamp Duel, so hopefully that's a good sign that I'm live. And also thank you, Jay Croyle, for saying the signal's okay. That's great. Yeah, I'll have to. I think there's an app setting in this app maybe to make sure that I'm using a software called Prism Live on my Android phone, and I think there's a setting where it keeps the video app on top at all times and doesn't allow other apps to interrupt it. So I'll have to check that out and maybe flip that setting on. Sadie Lamp Duo also said it's quite an impressive GE light display around the corner of Euclid and Noble. Yes, that's definitely something I'd love to check out next holiday season. If I had been more familiar with the area, I probably would have tried it this year, but just with the timing and other things I had to do, it didn't quite work out. Chokehold 2 says still live. Thanks again for letting me know. And I know I should be showing off and slowing down and taking my time showing more of these buildings, but I will do that at some point in the future. Like I said, I appreciate everyone tuning in right now. At the moment, today's live stream is a big test to see how the connection is, because once I know the connection's reliable, that'll motivate me and give me confidence that I can do some research and maybe provide some talking points in history as I'm walking through downtown Cleveland or even general neighborhoods. And I love the interaction process, if there are viewers at the time. And now we're walking toward Superior. One thing I noticed is usually this far left lane is a bus lane for Superior, and these are buses that would go through the public square area, but the snow is built up there, so the buses are sharing the lane with the regular traffic right now. Because usually these cars that are here can only turn right. There's that signal right there. Oh, I just got a message. Network connection. So let me try to walk a little bit and see if that fixes the weak connection. Wish there was a way I could see the network connection live on my phone. But anyway, that thing I was pointing at on the screen, that traffic light, is for buses, and when that white light illuminates on the bottom, it signals that the bus lane buses can go straight through to public square. The cars are not allowed to go straight at all. Well, see, here's a section where you have to be careful. If I would have just been looking straight and not paying attention, that's a big sheet of ice right there. Chokehold 2 says 20 degrees, feels like 11. What a trooper. Yes, but you definitely have to make sure you're bundled up. I've got good gloves and insulation before I came outside. Otherwise, if you come outside with being underdressed or not having your gloves on, you're going to freeze instantly. This is actually a really nice time to do the live stream because you're getting the sunset, which makes for a nice picture. Let's see here, can I walk around here? No. Well, I thought maybe there would be a pathway to cut through. So I'm going to not use the diagonal and just go straight on to the fountain. This is where a lot of the buses lay over now. For example, the 22 and 26 bus. They lay over there behind the Cleveland Public Library, turn onto East 3rd, and then go down Superior. A lot of the buses like the 22, 26, and other ones used to go all the way down to at least East 12th and Superior, and from there kind of make a turnaround. But when RTA restructured their bus system several months ago, or maybe it was even a year ago, sometime during the pandemic, they used that as the layover for a lot of the buses to help cut down on some of the timing of extending the routes further than they thought was necessary. See, the water fountains aren't on right now, of course, otherwise it would freeze. When I was here for the doing one other video one time, I think I was doing a video when it happened, there was like a wedding celebration going on where they were taking pictures in front of it. It was a windy day that day. And then back when the 2021 NFL draft happened, my brother and I came down for day one of the draft. It was a really, I know it's colder today, but for being a day in April, either late April or May. It was really cold that night. We stood where that guy is walking with his dog up there for the first round of the draft because we didn't have tickets to go into the actual draft area. And I remember I was running back and forth. I would hear the pick, and then they would put the team logo on Terminal Tower. And what I was doing was I was like literally jogging, especially for the Cleveland Browns were on the clock. I jogged all the way to Public Square where I showed that sheet of ice earlier, and I took a picture of Terminal Tower when the Browns were illuminated on the screen. You may say, like, why do you care about that? Especially since there's some photographers who also did it. But I thought to myself, you know what? Cleveland may never get the NFL draft again. You know, this will be the once-in-a-lifetime experience of me getting a picture of the Browns logo on Terminal Tower. Why not take a snapshot, and then years from now I can look back and say, hey, you know, I remember doing that, and have a story to tell. Chokehold 2 says, those are some big snow chunks, and do you like the redesigned bus system? Hold on, let me cross the street first before I answer that question. Otherwise my mind will be thinking about the question and not paying attention to whether traffic's coming or not. So do I like the redesigned bus system? It's somewhat hard for me to say because I have a select number of buses that I take, usually either the 22, the 78, the 26. And those routes didn't necessarily change drastically. As you can see, kind of surprising that they didn't come through and plow this area. I mean, this is a pretty notable walkway that goes from through downtown Cleveland, through the mall A, B, or C, whatever the malls are. But anyway, yeah, the adjustments for the buses haven't affected me too much. I know probably the major one is sometimes I would take what was called the 81 bus, which went from downtown Cleveland through Steelyard Commons into Tremont, and then back to the west side of Cleveland before eventually ending up at the West Boulevard Rapid Station. They changed the 81 and renamed it the 18, so it still starts at the West Boulevard Rapid Station, but it doesn't go to, I don't think it goes to Steelyard Commons anymore, or maybe it does, but it just, somewhere the route is different, and I don't think it comes to downtown Cleveland anymore. It ends up going off to the east side because they kind of merged two bus routes together. So that's affected me because I can't use that as an alternative bus from downtown anymore. But I think the number one thing that I dislike from the changes, and this was actually before they redesigned it, it was kind of during the pandemic when there was low ridership, is that there's only one free trolley in downtown Cleveland now. They got rid of the E-Line trolley, which would go down Euclid Avenue. And every time I took that, it was pretty well used. I'm trying to decide, should I walk up here? Is it worth it? Yeah, I'll walk up it for the view, even though I'm trudging through snow. Chokehold 2 says, I think the 81 is the 25 now. Yes, and you're right about that. They did. That's another bus I used to take, which I've seen the various different iterations of it, because when I first took it a couple times, these are pretty deep. When I used to take the 25 a couple of times, it would go from downtown Cleveland all the way out through Lakewood and stuff. Let's see, where should I walk? My foot is sinking. My foot is sinking. I don't know if you can tell how deep my leg is. So it's still got like 16 inches that I'm stepping through here. Maybe this is more solid ground. But yeah, the 25, then I saw it when they changed it, where it only went to the Lakewood Madison Rapid Station, and then went to Lakewood, and now they've changed it again where it goes from Lakewood all the way, I think, downtown again, although I haven't ridden it since the redesign. But yeah, back to the trolley, that's the number one inconvenience, because I used to, after work or before work, I used to ride either the Health Line or the trolley, and I would actually prefer the trolley because it was, even though it was still used, it was often less crowded than the Health Line. But now I just, instead of even taking the Health Line, I usually ride the 55 Cleveland State Line, which connects me to typically a 22 bus, or I can take the Rapid. I know Sadie Lampduo earlier said maybe do a bus ride stream. I have thought about that. The only thing I'm somewhat self-conscious about is I still don't know how to do it where I'm filming but not making other people uncomfortable. Like, that's why when I walk a lot, I try not to point the camera directly at someone. I'll turn the camera to the side. And the alternative would be to get on the bus and point the camera out the window. But the issue with that is, especially in the wintertime, these bus windows either have these large giant stickers on them, meaning advertisements, so you can't see through, or they're covered in, like the, what do you want to call it? I don't know if it's the salt or whatever the weather conditions are that make the vehicle dirty, and you usually can't see through there either. But if I do get the opportunity, I will think about that, and that'd be interesting too, to see how the bus signal looks on a live stream. I know certain areas, again, this was on my previous phone, every single time that I went to West 25th Street in Lorraine, my signal would completely drop out. So I always figured that the cell phone connection near West 25th in Lorraine was very weak. Now I am puzzled by this here. Like, is this a heated? Do they have heaters underneath them all? Like, why is it all grass for a good portion of this? I don't know. Let me try to put my hand down here. Doesn't feel heated. But that is a little perplexing. Why? I mean, there's snow here, but I know there's wind drifts and stuff, but I wouldn't think with how much snow we had. I mean, we had 12 plus inches of snow on Monday. I wouldn't think that would just evaporate from this area. I don't know, did they throw salt in this area? It's especially weird because the sidewalks, like I showed coming up, aren't clear at all. Oh, let me read. Sorry, I have a few comments here. Someone said you can take the 25 from downtown, the West 25th through Tremont, down Clark, then down Madison, through Lakewood, all the way to Westgate. Thanks, that's good to know. I think that's what I saw when I peeked at it a while back. Every so often I do need to take a route like that, so if I see the 25 and I know I'm going to Lakewood, I might plan to do that. Chokehold 2 says, I think RTA's newer buses are Wi-Fi equipped. Very good point again. In fact, I had my old phone when I bought it, when I bought my new phone, I still had my old phone because I was trying to manually look up some of the settings in the way I had it configured, because I didn't want to do the full automatic copy transformation. I wanted to fine-tune things myself. But I was on the RTA bus, and my old phone was still getting a bunch of alerts, and I looked and I was like, oh yeah, the RTA Wi-Fi connection was working. So it was definitely working on the 26 bus, and I have seen it with other buses, and I believe I've used it a couple of times on the train. Although the train, a few times when I've flown, I've tried to use the Wi-Fi on the train from Hopkins when I'm laying over. I'm walking slow because I'm sinking in the snow still. Some ground, it's like an ice rink. Some ground it's okay, but then other ones, looks like you're walking on water. And then that one, my foot just sinks in. But yeah, when I've taken the airport train, the red line from the airport, the Wi-Fi doesn't work when you're in that tunnel at Hopkins waiting, which I guess makes sense. They probably don't have good Wi-Fi signal there for the RTA to transmit it or something. Because if I can't get a cellular connection from the outside, how would that make sense, right? How would RTA get the connection to their Wi-Fi to then distribute to my phone? But anyways, it usually takes about 5 minutes for me to get to, maybe when the Brook Park station comes around, when I'm able to access the Wi-Fi. But by then I don't need the Wi-Fi, I just use my phone. But yeah, for streaming purposes, that is something to think about. Let's see here, I have another comment. Personal name said, visiting Cleveland in March, might be moving to the suburbs of Cleveland this year. Appreciate your videos. Thanks for tuning in. If anyone ever has any suggestions on what they'd like to see, feel free to leave a note in the comments. Sadie Lamp Duo says, we love the West 25th and Lorraine bus stop and go to the West Side Market for a snack. Yeah, at some point I'd love to do a video on the West Side Market. One of my decisions I'm wrestling with is timing, whether to do these videos in the winter or the summer. I could repeat them, but I'll think about that. Chokehold 2, wouldn't the salt kill the grass? Probably, so I doubt it's salt. I'm still just puzzled. I don't know what it was. I wonder if the sunlight hits the Hilton Hotel in just the right way to melt the snow. You know what? That's a great theory right there. That sun could be reflecting off that glass and then like creating a big heat thing, because it's funny, it does actually line up right with where the reflection would be, and it doesn't go all the way, so maybe, you know, as far as the thing goes, yeah, it's an interesting theory. Yes, the button on the signpost to make it light up. I usually do press that. It's just sometimes I don't trust the trust the vehicles. All right, so far this seems good. The reception is held strong. The only spot I had an issue was the spot that we're actually coming up on behind the old library. See, here's one of the challenges. I took my glove off earlier. Why did I take it off? I did it for some reason. Now I'm struggling to get it back on with one hand. I broke my insulation barrier. Let me see what time it is. It is 5:25, so I think, well, the 22 bus that I take runs every 15 minutes, so the next one should be at 5:30 coming up there on Superior. So I think I'm going to, and actually there's the layover for the 22 over there. But I think I'm going to end the live stream now. Thanks again for everyone who joined me for this experimental live stream. Hope to do some more of them in the future. And feel free to like this video, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll be more likely to receive notifications either when I've posted a new video or when I'm live. Bethuel Ainge says, do a video on the iconic 9 if possible, but yeah, also the West Side Market. Yes, thank you for those suggestions. I noticed the video getting choppy again here, so make a mental note of that. This is where one of the weak spots in reception is. But yes, we will end the video here. Thanks, Jay Croyle. Looking forward to seeing more of your streams. Christmas lights are still up at Public Square, even though the tree's not up. And have a good weekend, everyone.